I'm going to show you how to fix the One Connect boxes for Samsung's 4K frame TVs, which are no longer available for sale. As you can tell, I already have it plugged in, but I have no power to the TV, not even a standby lights. So let's bring it to the workbench so we can open it up and take a closer look inside. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nick. I started Nick's TV repair more than a decade ago, and since then we have fixed over 27,000 devices. First, we check our fuses with our multimeter in continuity mode. If we get a beep, that means our fuse is good. And we do get a beep on our primary fuse. And our secondary over here, we get no beep. We're gonna flip the board over and we're gonna focus to this area of the board right here. Still in continuity mode, we're going to check for shorts on the transistor QN55LS03BAFXZA by placing our black lead on the middle pin and the red lead on either side. And we have a beep that does confirm we have a shorted transistor. Next, we're going to switch over to the microscope. This is the transistor we just checked, which we confirm was shorted. And if we look over here, we'll notice a resistor at location RM840, and there's a little bit of a burn mark right in the center of it. So that resistor reads 2R20 normally. Let's do a measurement on it, and currently it's actually measuring fully open, which is an issue. You'll also notice that that resistor has a line that goes directly to this IC chip over here, ICM801CS. At this point, I've identified 4 components I'm going to want to replace. Number 1 is the fuse that has failed open. Number 2 is the transistor that failed shorted. Number 3 is the SMD resistor at 2.2 ohms that has that burn mark that has failed open. That will also need to be replaced. And finally is that IC chip that connects directly to that resistor. Whenever that resistor blows, it's usually because that IC chip is actually shorted and also will need to be replaced. So let's start with our replacements. But first, we do have to clean up the area since it is covered in silicone. Now, this is actually one of the more tedious parts of this repair, is removing this silicone. It's very difficult to remove. So I'm using my tweezers to kind of cut around the area. You want to be careful because you don't want to knock and damage any of the components in the surrounding area. But you also want to make sure you properly clean off the area, otherwise we won't be able to desolder the defective components and resolder the replacements. These are the 4 parts we're going to be installing to complete the repairs for this failure. If you want to try and fix the One Connect box yourself, we'll have those components available as a part of our repair kits. We'll have links for that in the video description down below. As well, if you are not able to do the installation yourself and you'd like to send in the box for us to fix, we also offer the flat rate services, which come with a 1-year warranty. And those again will be available on our website, which I will link in the description down below. Now for the cleanup, we're going to be using isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip. So it looks like we might have ripped up a trace. However, it looks like we might be able to recuperate it. Just have to scratch away at it a little bit. I think we'll be okay. Can still solder to that area, even though the pad is ripped off. I'm going to add a little bit of solder to that pin, or pad, sorry. We're going to line up the replacement chip. And it does not look like we're going to be able to solder to it directly without doing at least some sort of jumper. So let's go ahead and add solder here to this pad, number 1. We'll melt the solder, slide in the chip. And now we can solder in the other pins. We'll do the same for the resistor. Add solder to one pad, melt it, and slide in the component. Now the resistor we're using here today is a 1 ohm instead of 2.2. That is going to be within tolerance. And I'm going to add a little bit of flux. We're going to touch up some of these joints here in a second. Now actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use part of the legs of the fuse to solder the leg of the IC to the pad. So for that, we'll go ahead and add a little bit of solder to the leg of the fuse. We'll add a little bit of solder to the leg of the IC. And I did twist the leg of the fuse just a little bit. All right, it's locked in. And now we can go ahead and cut it. We're gonna go back to continuity mode with the multimeter, so when we have a short, we'll get a beep. So let's see. The tray seems to go to this pad here. So we do have a short here, I get the beep, but do I have it? I do have it on the pin of the IC. Okay, that confirms I have a good connection here. Next, we'll remove the transistor. Same thing, we'll start by adding some solder first, get good flow. And for this one, I'm gonna be using the desolder pump. It looks like I have a tiny little bit of solder left, so let's clean that off with the braid. And let's double check. Yep, the pin is loose. Same with this one. Now let's desolder the center one. Oh, we still have some solder in there. So this one has a crown in it. Those typically always give me a little bit more trouble. So we're adding a little bit more fresh solder. And I think we just got it. I think we still have a little bit of extra solder on the side here, but we should be able to get it with the braid. Let's check, are we able to move that pin? We are not. Let's see. Huh. So, I think it's actually loose. All right. Our pin is now loose. There we go. So it's actually a piece of metal. That's why I wasn't able to desolder it. It's part of that crown was bent in, but our pin is loose. What this means is now we can flip the board over, remove the screw, and using my needle nose pliers, I should be able to remove the transistor now. So I want to be careful. I can now remove some of this very tough silicone that is on the board, but there are some components in there and we want to make sure that we don't damage them. So I am going to slowly, with my tweezers, work at this silicone. As you can see here, we've uncovered a capacitor and we don't need to go too much further. Just need to have access to those 3 pins. And it looks like we have another capacitor right there. Now this is a bit of a tough angle to see, but if we look at the heatsink, there is going to be a layer of the ceramic compound that we'll need to clean off. So we can have a nice flat flush surface for the replacement. And actually, it looks like I might have a little bit of the silicone still stuck on that heatsink here. We definitely want to remove that so we have a very flat and flush surface for the replacement transistor. So I'm going to add just a little bit of ceramic compound to the back of our replacement transistor. We don't need to put a lot, but we do want to make sure that every inch is covered, or every millimeter, just like that. We can feed the replacement through. And now we can screw it in. Now we can solder it in. Now the leads are protruding a little further than we want them to, so we'll cut them off. And finally, we can go ahead and replace the fuse. Now for the fuse, one of the legs is exposed, but the other is below the silicone. So we'll definitely have to, again, do a little cleanup before we can go ahead and desolder. Go ahead and give it a shot on desoldering. Yep, that is good. So for this one, it's going to be a little hard for me to show you, but I am holding the fuse with my tweezers. And there we go. So now that the component is removed, it should be easier for me to clear out the holes. So now we can feed our replacement through. And the replacement fuse is physically smaller, but that's okay. It is the exact same rating. And same thing, we can go ahead and solder it in now. The leads are a little tall, so we'll definitely have to cut those off in a second. So this does complete the repairs for the One Connect box. I'm going to put it back together, and then we can go ahead and live test it with the TV again. I'm going to plug the power cable back in, as well as the One Connect box. Let's go ahead and turn it on. I just heard the One Connect box click, which is promising, and we have a picture that does confirm we have a successful repair. We do have a cracked screen, but that's okay. That's just our test set for the One Connect boxes. If you found the video helpful or useful, leave us a like, subscribe for more content, and thank you for watching.